Hey everybody, it's me, Mr. D, Mr. D's classroom. I haven't been on the air for a while. It's just, I'm down here in Florida and pollen is blowing up, man. It's got me under the weather. So, I never really get sick, but I go outside and my car's got green, it's covered in green with just pollen, and man, it's getting to me. So I don't like to make videos and I'm coughing a lot, dude. I'm struggling right now, but I haven't made one in a while, so I want to go ahead and get something out. Um, I want to talk to people a lot about discharging debt because I'm still getting calls about that. I'm getting calls about different processes. There's a guy out there teaching how you transfer your equity, your principal, your interest over to the principal, and then you write your letter, and that it you know it all boils down to building your case because a lot of these processes work if you understand that you have to build a case. And what this guy's teaching makes a lot of sense. As I watched a couple of his videos, and he's dead on. Everything boils down to your case and then how you endorse your bills and so on. Because I've been, this this is nothing new because there's nothing new under the sun. This goes all the way back to, I don't know if you guys remember, like in 2002, 3, 4, and 5, there was Dean Clifford, Tim Turner, Winston Shrout, God, Patrick Devine, all these guys, they come out way, way back, and they were teaching a lot of this stuff. So it's nothing new, but I just want to say to you guys, when you talk about discharging debt, if you have, how would I say this, a ritualistic mind, if you have a ritualistic mindset, then you'll never be able to discharge debt. And what I mean by that is that, this whole world is about rituals. Think about this. Every morning you get up, you do the same things every day. You'll get up, and usually about the same time. And what happens is that you're programmed to do this. And unless you're able to think outside the box and change that program, you're going to be stuck right where you are. And when you do your rituals, every day you get up, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you have your coffee, at the same time, watch the same shows, listening to the radio, whatever. But when you do this, you create a pattern that becomes hard to break. Like, for instance, my wife and I shouldn't even be saying this, but she make it bad. But my wife and I got these new toothbrushes where you just put the brush in your mouth and it does the work for you. You don't have to brush and all that stuff. But because of us coming from a regular toothbrush where you have to, go in and out and brush, move your arms and all that, move your hand, you get used to doing that. So I got my toothbrush, put it here. I just move it around. It did what it's supposed to do. My wife, on the other hand, the ritualistic mind, because she's so used to regular toothbrush, she takes the same brush. Now we have the same one, and you put it in your mouth. You're supposed to just let it do it. She starts brushing with it, and she can't. Like I said, no, just let it sit. Just let it do what it's supposed to do. She don't be shut up, whatever. So, all right, well, do what you want to do. But she keeps tearing up her toothbrush heads, keep asking me to go buy a new one. The thing's like $29 each. I have to do that. So that's what I'm saying about a ritualistic mind. And if you don't get to the point where you can think outside the box, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. For instance, if I were to ask you about your political beliefs, who would you vote for, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Now, if you think there's a difference, then don't discharge debt. Don't even try it, because there is no difference. And I'll give you an example. Biden wants the government to have control of our money through this CBDC, this digital money, coins of digital money that they can control. They can control what you buy. They can control what you post online, all through this digital money. So that's Biden. On the other hand, and down here in Florida, They say, oh, we will not have that. We don't want the digital currency. We don't have the government controlling our money. But down here, what people don't understand is DeSantis and Trump want digital currency, but he wanted to be controlled by the banks. So and now you know what banks do. So you got the government on one hand, banks on the other. And if you can sit here and say that you want to vote for this one or that one, either way, you're going to get punched in the face with the left hand or you're going to get punched in the face with the right hand. That's up to you. And that's what this is all about. And if you are so to the point where you believe that there is a difference, then don't even consider trying to discharge a debt, because it takes a different mindset altogether. You've got to get outside the system, step back, and then look at what's going on. And if you can't do that and see that there is a central control system, a central controller that's running this whole system. He runs the left, or she runs the left, or it, whatever it is, runs the left and it runs the right. And it has an agenda. And that agenda is going to get done whether you go left or you go right. It's just depending on, which way you decide to go. So if you're a ritualistic mind, you notice how we go through these elections, and we go through the DMCs, and we go through the right, and we have these conventions, and they say, well, so-and-so won this state, so-and-so won this state. It doesn't really matter, because nothing really changes for you. Your daily habits, your daily rituals don't change. And certainly you don't make very much more money, depending on whoever gets in office. It really doesn't change. But you think it changes just because the name at the top changes. So if that's the way your mindset is, do not attempt this, because you're going to fall flat on your face. When I was a school teacher, and I told you this before, I got the Teacher of the Year award one year, and it was because I taught kids to think outside the box. And if in our classroom, you didn't have to show me how you got your answer. I'm just saying, what is the answer, and do you understand? So I'd have a quiz. Excuse me. Hey. I'd have a quiz, and I would say, okay, here are the 15 questions. I want the answers. You guys got 1 hour to answer these questions, and then we're going to go over them. And they would be graded on how they spoke to me, how they told me. I mean, they didn't tell me how they got the answer. I just want to know if they understood it. And then we'd go from there. So that's how you have to think. If you got to think outside the box if you want to be successful at this. Prime example, the person that's doing the client that called me that wants to do this guy's process, and I'm like, I know mine, I know what I do, but I said it's all basically the same. And she had a question, 12 USC 1431, duties of a bank. And that's what this person talks a lot about, which I understand. I mean, it does make sense to me. I mean, I could do it overnight. I already understand how that works, because it's really no different. There's some differences. I mean, but the bottom line is taking someone to court to make your claim and get your remedy. So this person said that, well, I read the thing they gave me to read. He gave me a certain code to go read, and it was at 12 USC 1431. And it said, duties of a bank, but it mentioned a home loan bank. And they're like, well, I'm not a home loan bank. And I said, well, let's look at this. So I went to 12 USC 1422, which is really close to that same one that he told her to go look at. And 1422 basically just said that, number one, first thing, bank. Then it says period. Then after period, it says home loan bank. And then it goes on to say what a home loan bank can do. So if you look at that, a bank and a home loan bank are the same thing. So I explained it to her like this. And this is what you need to learn how to do. When you're a critical thinker, this is the kind of stuff that happens. I said, so can Wells Fargo, that's who I bank with, can they do a home loan? You go, yes. I said, okay, so they're a home loan bank or they're a mortgage company. That's what a home loan bank is. And then I said, and here in Florida, we have Regions Bank, which is a regional bank. Can they do home loans? Well, yes. I said, okay, so Regions is a home loan bank. And then I said, there's a guy that I know that lives over in another neighborhood, and he does private loans for people for cars. And I asked him, he said, I could do home loan, whatever you need, if depending on how much it is. So he's a private investor. Can he do home loans for people? Yes, he can. So, and he's a private banker. So what do all these have in common? And this is how you have to think. So you have Wells Fargo Bank, you have Regions Bank, you have a private banker, and then you have a person. And what is the definition of a banker? What is the definition of a banker? A banker is a person, whether they're incorporated or unincorporated, that does the business of banking. So in other words, it's a person is public or private doing the business of banking. And so what is banking? Banking is going to the bank, depositing money, withdrawing money, borrowing money, loaning money. It's all that. So you are a banker. So if you aren't able to see this and think outside the box and you can't defend yourself, if a lawyer or if a judge said to you, well, you just cited 12 USC 1431, what makes you think that you're a home loan bank? So how would you know how to answer that? So, but I would, because I would bring it all the way down and say there's no difference between a bank, me, and a home loan bank. We're all the same thing. And we all have access to the Federal Reserve. But my access may be different than, someone who is already up in the system that's sitting at a higher position, but I can get to the Federal Reserve the same way through an application. So, this is the type of thing I'm telling people when you want to do these processes, a template, I can give you, excuse me, they call, and I said, I can give you a template, but I quit doing that. I'm not doing that anymore because every time I give somebody a template, they come right back and they say, well, what do I do when they say this? Well, I just sent that template up and they told me this and they told me that. I go, so what's your next move? But this is why you have to learn to think outside the box. And it doesn't mean that you have to learn all these codes. It means you just have to think differently. You have to get out of that ritualistic mind, that ritualistic mindset. And you cannot think that way. You've got to get to the point where you see this world differently. You see that this world is what you want it to be when you understand who you are. If you think about this, every bill, every collection agency, anything that comes to you from any of those people, you created. You created the money. You created this whole situation, so you have control of the whole situation. You have a company that deals with the United States, and it's your principal, or your straw man, or your all cap name, whatever you want to call it. That is outside of you. You separate yourself from that with a power of attorney, or as a tax form you can fill out to do that. But either way, you control that. And the only way they can move is if you sign something on behalf of that principal. So you get an application. Now that application sits on that table. Nothing happens until you put your signature on it. So that application is dead. So you are a God because you bring that application to life. And that's why, when you look at all this stuff, when I keep, we are gods. You are the God of your universe. And your universe includes your straw man or your principal, whatever you want to call it. But you have to operate under that and you have to know who you are. That thing operates because you give it life. And when you give it life, it can go around this world. It drives a car. It does all these different things it wants to do. and you're in control of it. So if it does something like there's a speed limit, it runs over the speed limit, he gets a ticket. It can't do anything unless you do it for it. So what are you going to do? You have to take that ticket and remember that, everything is prepaid. Everything is paid for. You just have to endorse it and send it back. You can endorse it. You can rescind it. And there's a lot of different things you can do. But just keep in mind that rescinding it won't give you the revenue. That's the difference. So, guys, and I know I'm getting people that are calling me about this other process, but call the person you're getting that from. And I know some of you say you've done that and they don't answer, whatever, but I'm sorry. I don't, I do my own thing. And yes, I can help you with a lot of different things, but I'm at the point now where I've got so many templates I created myself. And I don't, and I use my templates for the things that I'm doing. And it works for me because I know who I am. I've got a case now. I just finished another one with a collection agency. Because I'm cutting my teeth on this. I mean, I like dealing with these guys because you learn a lot when you're fighting one. And I just sent a letter to them that basically dismissed my case, and now they want to work out some type of deal because I'm doing a federal countersuit on them. I am. I mean, I'm I did my private administrative process. And that's the other thing. When you do a private administrative process with somebody, you want to send them 3 letters. You want to say your first letter is, look, okay, so you want to buy or rent a very nice car for the weekend, like you want a Lamborghini or something. So they tell you, well, you're going to have to give me $5,000 deposit, and I'll bring the car over so you can use it. So you give them the deposit. And then the weekend comes, you're supposed to get the car, you don't see it. You don't hear from them. You call them, nothing happens. 2 days goes by, you don't get the car. So now, what are you going to do? You've got to take them to court. And that's how you get your claim. But you're going to send them a first letter and say, look, we had an agreement. You didn't stick to the agreement. This is what you did. So I need you to bring me this car or give me my money back by a certain day. You got 7 days, whatever, 10 days. Second letter. Now think about this. I'm not going to tell you what to say, but think about what would you do? What would your second letter be? It'd be, okay, all right, I just told you, I just sent you a letter. Where's my stuff, man? I need to, you need to be compensated. You don't hear from them again. Third letter, okay, this is a default judgment against you. And this is your opportunity to cure. That's why you're doing my third letter, it's an opportunity to cure. Then my last letter is a default, and then I just go ahead, after I sit in default, you have been defaulted on, and then I just go right ahead and file my paperwork. So anyway, I don't want to, go on ranting on it, but guys, you got to start looking at who you are. You're in your situation because you are there. And it's because, when you have a real ritualistic mind, you go along to get along. And that's the problem. You don't see yourself as a creator. You see yourself as a slave. And until you change the way you see who you are, then you're going to always have issues because you're afraid to step up to the guy that you feel is bigger than you and take him on. You're the creator of everything in your life. You have control of it. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm gonna and I'm changing my consultation prices to $99.95 now. So if you guys want to hit me up, you can do Cash App, and that's $sign Dana 3159 3159. Those are my 2 numbers for place. So anyway, again, this is Mr. D, Mr. D's Classroom. Remember, happiness is a choice. You choose to be happy, and you are whatever comes after I am. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.